So I think I might have moved a little bit fast on that one, but I'm going to slowly start to introduce the next idea, which is how do you actually blend these surfaces together? There are a few ways of doing it, and I would just urge you to, well, for two things, and they're kind of conflicting, right? You don't want the design process to be held up by thinking too much about cutting out all the extra steps possible, right? If you can't proceed with just doing the design however you can get it done, then you're going to lose track of what it is you're trying to design. So I'm going to give you a couple of ways of resolving a few things, and some of them are probably going to be more efficient than others. But these are it just depends on how you kind of want to go about doing this. So first and foremost, the blend tool is actually pretty sharp. It will work for a lot of cases, but it won't work for all cases. And here's essentially what it does. If I want to take this line, this edge, and blend it with that edge, I can create a curve that's going to connect those two edges, a curved surface. Or I could create hit the microphone, that's going to be annoying. Or I could create a flat surface that goes from one to the other. So it looks like this. You just do blend and blend surf. And so it's asking you for a segment for the first edge. So it's not just taking two full surfaces, it's essentially taking two segments of a surface. So that would be something like this. And then select the next one, which would be that, and then hit enter. So this is essentially what it does. The good thing is, generally speaking, the default settings where it's just curvature at a 1.0 value for edge 1 and edge 2 generally is just going to give you a tangent connection from one to the other. Not always, but generally you can get a tangent connection. But as you change these settings, it's going to create a different type of connection or a different tightness of the tangent from one surface to the other. So basically, if I'm going to increase the size of this, you're going to see that that tangent curve is actually going to be accentuated in one, weighted one direction or the other. And it's going to look really weird when I do that. But so 1-to-1 is pretty much all you need here, and that's going to give you a pretty straight tangent. If I change this, tangency generally is going to still kind of do the same thing. It's just going to be a 2-point versus a 1-point, where it's not going to be straight radial. It's basically, see how it's a little bit, it's still tangent, but it's a little bit flatter. Almost like you took it to a sander and you just kind of did it a little wrong. So I don't know how you intend to do this, but generally curvature is going to be a little bit smoother of a curve. And then position is just going to go from one position to the other, right? So that just gives you a straight line. That's, if you need, like a chamfered corner like that, then that's what you could use. And you might think that it's really simple this way, but if I have two crazy surfaces, and I'm just going to kind of modify this a little bit to quickly show you how nifty this thing truly is. I could actually do that by, and don't do this on yours, I'm just showing you. So you can go from this surface edge to that surface edge. Oh, it looks like it flipped it on me. Yeah, it did. Darn. Let me pull it a little farther away. I think it flipped the direction. Let's still go down this way. Blend surface, tangent, direction both. Might not work. So we got first, second. Ooh, why is it reversing the direction?
Does it matter which one you select first?
It might. But it probably is still going to reverse the direction. That's odd. Okay, so that's unexpected behavior. It shouldn't have reversed the direction. I'll try and identify why it does that, but anyway. If that occurs, we'll dig in. If that occurs on any of your actual projects, we'll dig into it more and try and find out exactly that rule set. But that was unexpected. So anyway, blend surface is your option for this one. Oh great! Now it's back to doing that permanently. Geez, thanks, Rhino. No, we're not getting out of lecture today because that's not my preferred method. You want to see my preferred method? Well, generally, I don't really do blend that much because what happens is, let me see if I, oh, I did. Darn, I deleted too much. We'll do it on this one. Blend surf. That. Oh, come on. Let's see, direction. Forward. There we go. I just switched the direction to forward. Okay, so I'll just show you on this one. But what happens here is you wind up having like another surface that you have to create and manage. And that's not, like it depends on what your workflow is going to be. But generally, I like to just do a lot of like trims and stuff at first, and then I just mash it all together and make it later. However, if this is your chosen method, you can Control-Shift, grab that edge, and this, oh, it won't do it because it's not actually an edge. So I have to draw a line and go from there to there, and then another one from here to there. So I'll grab this curve, grab that curve, and then Control-Shift and grab this curve, and then I have to create a planar surface. And you know what's really unfortunate about that? If it's not planar, I can't create it, right? So, that's generally not my preferred method. But it is a method, so feel free to use it when and where you think it's appropriate. What do I do? Essentially, what I do is I basically just push the extrusions a little bit further beyond one another, and then I'll trim them out if it's possible. Sometimes it's not exactly possible. So here's what that looks like. I have a leftover curve here, and I don't have a leftover curve on the back side, so let me get another curve on that side as well. I'll just go from there to there. Now I have one on both of these, right? So I'm going to activate another layer, and usually I'll name it, something like subtraction layer or delete layer or dump layer, something like that. Construction, whatever you want to call it. You can call it anything you want. But I'll take a curve like this, and I'll just do Alt-click, Control, and pull it up a little bit beyond the geometry. Then I can go Control, or grab this one and do the same kind of extrusion. So Alt-click, Control, pull it. And it's going to look like that. Now I can trim, and I'll trim this and that. Both of them are cutting each other. So hit Enter, and then trim out, trim out. And then it just creates a pretty smooth and clean connection from one to the other. And it's pretty fast, right? I don't have to draw in extra lines. All I had to do was just copy those profiles I already had, extrude, trim, oops, hit the microphone again, that time even worse. Extrude, trim, and then it's pretty much ready to go. At that point, all I have to do is just grab all of these surfaces and say join. And then it's one object, and then I can even merge all faces. And now it's really one object. Boom. Merge all faces didn't work all that beautifully, but there's probably a better way to do that. Anyway, so, oh, that's right, because I have two surfaces on there. Let me go back. So there's one surface here, another surface there. Probably want to use a BooleanUnion on this. Will it allow it? Let's try BooleanUnion. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Merge all faces. see if that's cleaner. Yeah, that's cleaner. BooleanUnion is going to work a little better for you here. And I can even turn my ISO curves off, and now it's super clean.
So you want us right there?
Huh?
At that step?
Yeah.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, but I want you to do that for both of them. So while you guys are getting caught up, because I know I went a little fast, I'll do a little recap here.
Too fast.
Yeah, way too fast, right? So recap, this is all it is. It's not very many steps, right? I just made sure that I have a curve here and a curve there. And then with another layer active, I select the first one and I just do an extrusion. Select the second one, oops, and do an extrusion. Okay. That part you totally get, right?
Okay.
Now the part that I know I did too fast is the trim command. So some of you might not be as familiar with the trim command. So trim is you type in trim and hit enter, and it asks you to select the cutting objects. So the cutting objects in this case are both surfaces because they're cutting each other, because you want to get rid of the excess here and you want to get rid of the excess there. So I just select both of them and hit enter. And now it's asking you for the object to trim, which in this case is going to be there and there. You're just trimming out all that excess.
It doesn't let me select both of them. It's one or the other. When I try to select them.
I think it might be a pair of intersections.
No. It might be that you had one selected when you started the command. Possibly. But I'll take a look at how you're doing it and then help you identify. So I'll even do this a little bit. I'll do it again once more. Yeah, BooleanUnion would be the better way to do it with all of your surfaces once you're done.
BooleanUnion instead of joining it.
Yes, instead of join, use BooleanUnion. So anyway, again, just grabbing this one, extrude. Whoops, that didn't do it. Copy here to here. Select that curve. Alt, click, Control, pull. And then this one. Alt, click, Control, pull. And then trim.
Is trim the same as split?
No.
Or what?
So trim will actually delete the excess geometry. Split
okay.
will retain it and just cut it.
And then you make it into a bowling.
Yes, grab all of your surfaces, all of your poly surfaces, I should say,
Select everything.
and do a Boolean union. And then to clean it up, it's going to look a little messy like this, but to clean it up, you just do merge all faces. That'll make it look like that. Now, see these extra lines here? I should probably take a moment to explain what they are. Whoops. Change it back to the regular layer. Those are called surface ISO curves. They help you identify planarity on a surface, as well as the orientation of the certain axes of that surface. So in case you're not aware, every surface has a three-dimensional X, Y, and Z axis, right? Which is known as the U and V coordinates of a surface, and also the normal, which is your surface Z axis. So that helps you identify which direction your surface is facing. But you can turn those off by going over to Properties and Show Surface ISO Curve, and you just uncheck that, and then it's going to give you a nice smooth surface just like this. Doesn't look like that?
No, can you just like slow it down?
Yeah, just about the ISO curves?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a checkbox right here under view, the object properties.
Okay, cool.
So just Toggle it off. There it goes. Now every time you modify that surface, they're gonna like re-show up. So yeah.
So when you trim, you click on the box or on the red one?
The red one. Yeah. All right. Should I go through like the trim function in great detail with you all? Raise your hand if you would like me to go through it in great detail and show you like trimming with curves, trimming, you know, inside, outside, 3D volumes.
Can you just trim it one more time?
Maybe you can call advanced trim.
What's that?
It's an advanced trim.
Okay.
Always done for that.
Well, I'll just show you one more time with this then, I guess. So, Alt Shift click and you pull it. Oh, whoops. Alt click Shift or Control and it goes like that. And then this one is same thing. Right, so this is what you're going to have, and when you trim it, just do trim, select both of them as a cutting object, right, because they're cutting each other. So this is what happens if I just select this one as a cutting object and I hit enter, and I trim that. That one trims, but I can't trim this one because I haven't selected the other object to trim it. You guys get it? Okay. So I trim, and then select this, and then enter, and then that. So if you read the description of the command, it should pretty much tell you. You just need to think through it graphically. Like if it's asking me for a cutting object, what would happen if I selected this surface or edge as a cutting object?